Oh my goodness. Shade, I want to thank you for spelling out so clearly what you see as the connection between Alcoholics Anonymous, the experience of the first three steps, and Christianity. I have to say, this is the second time I've recorded this lecture. The first time the computer ate it, it wouldn't post it. So let me see if I can grab the passion that I put into that lecture I gave 10 minutes ago. Um, so there does appear to be a parallel process between the born again sort of experience of Christianity and the changing your life experience that comes from Alcoholics Anonymous. The AA, however, was very influenced by the dominant cultural paradigm of the time, which was Judeo-Christian. The United States is wrestling with its history as a Judeo-Christian culture, separation of church and state, etc. Alcoholics Anonymous is very purposely not religious and is not affiliated. It says right in the traditions, AA is not affiliated with any sect, denomination, organization, politics, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any outside causes. I mean, that's baked into the traditions of the program. It's one of the few rules they have, is that we cannot be a born-again Christian Alcoholics Anonymous organization. We cannot be a Jewish Alcoholics Anonymous organization. So they remain non-affiliated with any religions. And the reason is, when you look at those steps, there are so many choices. In a religion, an individual has a fixed set of beliefs that is predetermined, it's prescribed, it's dogma, it's written in. If you're a Catholic, you believe in a profession of faith that goes something like, we believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, of all things seen and unseen, blah, 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 blah. And it goes on and it says, this is what being a Catholic is. And in order to be a Catholic, you need to profess that faith, and you do it repeatedly. In order to be Jewish, there are certain beliefs that you will hold as Jewish, and that is your religion and culture and ethnicity and everything else. Same with almost any religion has a book, it has a set, and it says, to be us, you must be this, you must believe this. Alcoholics Anonymous doesn't do that. There's no musts in the program, in all practicality. There's nothing, it doesn't say you have to believe this. You don't have to have this God or that God. It is a God of your own understanding. Now, that's an old idea that survived from a movement called the Oxford movement. If you want more homework, look up the Oxfords. The Oxfords' big contribution to religion, spirituality, whatever, was to say everybody gets to determine their own definition of God, but it must be a God, and it must be a power greater than yourselves, and it must be something higher than your own self-will, okay, in order to recover from something. So AA is different that way. So it's not really religion, it's spiritual. Does the process seem to mimic that of, coming to God as a Christian? There are many ways that people come to believe in a power greater than themselves. A lot of religions have that tradition. AA looks similar, but it really, keep in mind, it's a spiritual program and not a religious program. The other reason for differentiating is this. Historically, prior to Alcoholics Anonymous coming around in about 1935, the only people who had any success at all in treating chronic alcoholism was religious institutions. And a person would have a religious experience in the church, usually. They would sign a pledge, they would get right with God, and then they would be sober for a while. But you know what happened? And you know what still happens? They relapse. It is not sufficient. So AA realized that a spiritual experience of some sort was necessary, but in and of itself alone was not sufficient for achieving long-term sobriety. To achieve long-term sobriety, you needed the psychology part. You needed to do that critical self-examination. You needed to form healing relationships with other people who had the same affliction, not just other people, but other people who were recovering from alcoholism. That you needed to eventually work with other people with alcoholism to help them get sober. That's a big part of staying sober in the long term, is working with others. So AA really, developed these traditions that were beyond what any of the churches did. And guess what? They were more successful than the churches. To the churches' unending dismay. They still are in dismay today. You still see churches that try to offer addiction recovery services. It's fine. It's fine. Let them do it. No problem. most people wind up in a 12-step program and practicing that philosophy. But at any rate, 5 minutes on a lecture. But well put, excellent exploration of the topic there, Shade.